What is up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. We are currently on the test server, guys. Today we're gonna talk about the war. What war are you talking about, Skratch? The faction war that's been going on in between content creators. If you're not familiar with the whole event, guys, head over to deadwoodjedi.com and check out the event. Tons of stuff happening. Now, I've done the Spider Dungeon with my faction, and I'm gonna do Arena in the next one. We're gonna talk about what happened in the Spider competition, okay? I'm gonna talk about my team, I'm gonna show you the best time, while we're gonna talk about a few different options that we had available for that specific team from that specific faction. Now, we had to do Spider 20, that is Spirit Affinity, guys. The only problem with that, okay, is that the Undead faction has so many amazing Force champions, okay? So if we go right here at my faction, you see we have Battle Khazar, you have Husk, you have Karam, you have Leech. Tons of champions that are Force Affinity. So that means a lot of Wickeds. Of course, this is a game of RNG. So Skratch decided to beat RNG with RNG, okay? Was a gamble, but we managed to do it pretty well. So I'm going to show you the team. Is a very strange team. I'm letting you know from now. The requirements on the gear are a bit intense, are not necessarily required. I've just went in this way and I'm gonna explain you once we're gonna get there. Now, we are the Skranubis team together with Napcax and YST, and I went against the Goat Squad team and against the CSI team. Now, from the Goat Squad was Hell Hades with the Demon Spawn team. From his faction, he had banned Prince Kymar and Cisia, okay? He was not allowed to use those champions. And from the CSI team was Ivy Lee. She had the Sacred Order. She had banned Venus and Cardiel. Now, keep in mind, there are tons of powerful champions in this faction as well. Plus, she had access to Armiger, okay? If you haven't seen my video on Armiger when I said every single account needs one of these champions, because regardless if you're early game, mid game, end game, super end game, you're still gonna have a use for this bad boy. That's how OP this uncommon champion is. Now, from my faction, I actually had Mashald and Sifi banned. I was not allowed to use those champions. Now, knowing the teams that are going against me, I had my main Spider team, and that took around 50-60 seconds. I had more Thermitter manipulation, was more safe as a team, not so much RNG involved, and was pretty consistent at around 50 seconds. I wasn't happy with that. Knowing that I was going against the Sacred Order, I knew that's gonna be very dangerous, okay? They're gonna be able to get a pretty decent time. They actually surprised me. Knowing the Demon Spawns being such a powerful faction as well, again, I wasn't happy with that time, so I actually had to improvise and create something stupid. I'm calling it stupid because it was a pretty stupid team, honestly. So I tried Natril, I thought about using Vlad maybe, I thought about using Leech, for example. The whole idea with these champions is if I was using the AoEs like Natril or Vlad, they decrease the Thermitter AoE. So that means that I have HP burn on the Spiderlings, and instead of them to take their turn, I'm gonna slow them down. So instead of letting them take their turn, I'm going to decrease the Thermitter, and that's going to slow down my run. So that was a no-no from it. I gotta admit, I've done a bit of a fart from my direction because I completely forgot about Stitched Beast. I forgot that we can deplete the Thermitter with this skill. Even if I was going to use that champion, I wasn't going to get a better time than the time that I got. Okay, so this was still going to be around 40 to 50 seconds. So it was not good enough for what I needed. I needed to go at around 30 seconds. So the champions that I chose to use, guys, was Crypt King Graal, of course. HP burn, freeze, we all know how it goes. I'm gonna show you the builds in a second. Basically, if you're familiar with stage 25, Crypt King Graal, you know if you make him at a higher speed, he's gonna land HP burn, and then he's gonna take another turn before the Spiderlings and freeze them all. Okay, so I kind of like adopted that strategy. Now next to it, for everyone's surprise, I had Karam. Karam, for whoever is not familiar, detonates poisons, kind of like Xavier, Elenaril, but he's not as powerful as those two champions. You see, when he hits a boss, he deals 50% less damage. he has a chance to land poisons with the A1. Not a very big chance to land that poison. The A2 is something that I locked, I haven't used. The next champion, of course, was Battle Khazar, and I'm telling you them in the order of the speeds. Battle Khazar, poisons, cleanse, heal, crit rate aura, which I actually used. Plus, we have the heal from the A1, extra damage with his passive. A very, very solid champion for it as well. The next one that I had in the team was no one else but Anax. I know you heard that right. I used Anax. The reason for it, I needed more poisons on that boss to be able to detonate it with Karam. So I went in with his A2. I haven't even used the A3. I started with this skill. I'm going to show you the entire run and explain it to you. Basically poisons. Then we're going to need that defense down because the next champion that we had on the team was Husk. So he is an enemy max HP nuker. I had three force champions, with Battle Khazar. So a lot of RNG gets involved in here. If they weak hit, it's not great. So my team was going with super bad RNG at around 1 minute and 40 seconds. So I had to take a massive risk in here, guys, to try and bring that trophy home, okay? So that was the team that we used. Now let me quickly show you the builds, and then we're gonna go and do a run, and I'm gonna explain you the whole process behind it. So some of the champions are well over gear for this. You don't require this crazy gear whatsoever. I just gave them the gear in this way to get the speeds, and I didn't want it to get too much power on them. I didn't want it to get too much crit rate on some of them. Crypt King Graal, 3 speed sets. He is at 311 speed and 289 accuracy. I'm actually gonna move a bit my head out of here so you guys can see it better. So these are the stats on him. How I mentioned, this is not required, okay? If you are going to try just to beat the dungeon, to progress in the game, to get your Arbiter, etc., you don't need to worry about how fast you can actually run it. So this was more of a speed tune team. Was a lot of thought going into the process when I made the team to make sure I have all the skills in order, all the debuffs in play, to get the right turns for each one of the champions, etc. So that was Crypt King Graal. The next champion that went second as the fastest was Karam. Now, why? Basically, I have him on a toxic set. Total stats, I have damage on him as well. You see, I have 4k attack, 75 crit rate. I don't need more because Battle Khazar has the lead. 312 speed, 228 crit damage, 240 accuracy. The whole idea with this champion was to go in with the A1, drop the poisons, and then take a turn before the enemy and detonate those poisons. So then my other champion, which we're going to talk in a second, can come in play as well and land the defense down without a problem. Now masteries on him, I have offense and support 3. Pretty much the exact same thing I had on Crypt King Graal. The whole idea behind it is that I have no turn meter manipulation whatsoever in the entire team. So the whole process is going in through Evil Eye and their A1s. That's how I'm manipulating the turn meter on the boss. Only from their A1s you're gonna see each one of the champions are gonna take a turn with their A1 except Husk, because I didn't build him with accuracy. So that's Karam right there. I have different masteries to have a higher chance to drop the poisons, like Sniper, Master Hexer. You know how it goes when you have this sort of champions. Now, the third fastest champion in the team was Battle Khazar. Again, he is well overtuned in terms of stats and builds. And wait, this is another one. Is this one right here? I have him on lifesteal and speed set. The reason I gave him lifesteal was just in case if he fails, the team fails, the other ones are gonna die before, to make sure my tank stays alive so they're not gonna kill Crypt King Graal. And like that, I'm still gonna finish the run. So it was the best run out of 3 runs, guys. That's how the competition went down. So I had to make sure I'm gonna finish it at least, you know? Not to be the embarrassment right there. Masteries on him, tier 6 War Master, support 3. Total stats, 72k HP, 3.6k defense, 254 speed, 357 resistance and accuracy. Now you don't need these insane speeds on this champion and the stats that we have. You want to have around 300 resistance, 320, 230 accuracy, and how much HP and defense you can get on him. He's gonna tank it without a problem. I've done this ages ago when I've got my Arbiter. I've done that dungeon with him. The next champion that we have on the list, and again, is gonna be no one else but Anax. What made me use Anax? Well, I needed poisons and I needed defense down. The damage difference with defense down and without from my enemy max HP nuker is mind-blowing, guys, okay? It's absolutely insane. So he's on a toxic set and a speed set. Total stats, 5.6k HP, 197 speed, 82 crit rate, 265 crit damage, 249 accuracy. Masteries on him: support, offense again, sniper, master hexer, evil eye, very very important, war master instead of helm smasher or anything crazy like that. So that is Anax. And the last champion that we had on the list was Husk. So I have him built on a savage and a cruel. He is very nasty in terms of stats. Again, is an overkill because like his damage is there. His maximum, he cannot do more than this. But basically, he has 183 speed, decent HP, etc. 85 crit rate. With Battle Khazar, we have over 100, 311 crit damage. Masteries, offense and defense 3. And we have Helm Smasher as tier 6. Now again, this brings in a bit of RNG. Does it proc? It doesn't proc. Do we get that extra damage? We don't. That was my team. So how I mentioned in terms of stats was a bit of overkill. I just tried to get as much damage as I can. And this was done on a 60 frame. Okay, 60 frames was not done on unlimited. On unlimited frames, I got a much better time. I'm going to tell you that in just a second. So that's how I had my team. If we're gonna have a quick look at the presets, so Battle Khazar starts with that skill. Anax is not gonna use his A3, he's only gonna use the A2. He's gonna start with that, then he's gonna move over to the A1. Crypt King Graal is gonna start with the HP burn, then he's gonna come in with the freeze. Husk is gonna start with the A3 instead of the A1 because of the animation. The A1 animation is a bit longer than the A3, and then he's gonna use the A2. Once Anax cycles back again, lands defense down, that's when Husk is gonna come in play with the enemy max HP hit. And Karam is gonna start with the A1, get that turn meter down, try to land the poison, take another turn, and bang, rot away, detonate those poison. That's how this run will go. Now I'm gonna show you a run and we're gonna see how the RNG will play right now when I'm recording it. I recorded another one with the same time that I got on the competition, so you guys can see that as well. And then I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna tell you the best time that I got on uncapped. So you see, we landed one poison, we didn't have the one from the toxic set unfortunately there, more from Battle Khazar, more from Anax, and now we're praying, don't weak hit. Bang, we removed those poisons, we detonated them, 2.3 million damage. We had the HP burn, now we have the freeze, and now I'm hoping that Anax is gonna bring in the defense down. Bring it, please. Now I'm praying, don't weak hit, Husk. Don't weak hit. We got a weak hit, you see. If we were not getting the weak hit, this was gonna go around 31 seconds. That was the time that I got during the competition. Now, unfortunately, was not the winning time. Ivy Lee surprised all of us and she had a crazy RNG. She managed to cash in at 29 seconds. Big shout out to Ivy Lee for wrecking us in there. But this is my team, guys. That's kind of like the way it works. You see, right now, the RNG is not as great on it. It might be slightly slower, the whole team, just for the simple fact that I have a raid opened on a different app there as well. So I have raid open twice, because this is the test server. But basically, this was like a bad scenario. 1 minute and 3 seconds, I was like, oof. Hopefully, this is not going to happen, you know? Now I'm gonna show you the run, exactly how it went during the event. How I mentioned, we had 3 different tries, so I'm gonna show you the best try that I had. I feel like every single one of them went under 1 minute. The champions did pretty well. We didn't got a lot of weak hits, at least not enough to embarrass us. You know, Karam comes in, bang, detonates the poisons. We land everything again, how I mentioned before. So it went a bit of thought in the process of making this. We have Anax coming in play, we're decreasing the turn meter as well. Husk bangs in the nuke, 31 seconds. We got Crypt King Graal with 230k damage, Battle Khazar with 300k, Anax with 200k, Husk with almost 2 million, and Karam with 2.3 million. Now, if a War Master was proccing, or each one of the champions, the damage was a bit better. That's kind of like the way it goes when we're talking about the rank, guys. That was all for this video as well. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of the team? You think it was a pretty decent team? So how I mentioned, 31 seconds. On uncapped frames, I managed to get 25 seconds with this team. That's pretty good. So all this was done on 60 frames. I'm pretty happy with the result though. Unfortunately, we only got second place with this. How I mentioned, Ivy League crushed it. But that was all for this video. Much love, appreciate all of you guys watching. And I'll catch you all soon in the next event when we're gonna take on Arena. Peace.